Biden, launching his book tour, in an interview, asked about a laptop that allegedly exposed the Biden family's efforts to exploit political connections. It was a case of I can neither confirm nor deny. Chief Breaking News correspondent Trace Gallagher is on the case, looking back at the facts as we know them so far. Good evening, Trace.
And a good evening. Now that we have the major players on the record, here's a timeline on who said what. In the early fall, it was the New York Post that broke the story of the incriminating documents and emails found on what was said to be Hunter Biden's laptop. The story was then blocked on Facebook and Twitter because it, quote, violated Twitter's hacked materials policy. Of course, Twitter never provided any evidence the emails were hacked or was Russian disinformation. But in October, then candidate Joe Biden told 60 Minutes it was both Russian disinformation and a smear campaign. Yet the same month, then Director of National Intelligence John Ratcliffe knocked down Joe Biden's statement saying the laptop is not part of a Russian disinformation campaign, and the FBI and the Department of Justice agreed. But the media largely ignored the story, and so in late December, President-elect Joe Biden had this back and forth with Fox News correspondent Peter Doocy. Watch.
Mr. President-elect, do you still think that the stories from the fall about your son Hunter were Russian disinformation and a smear campaign, like you said?
Yes. God love you, man. You're a one-horse pony.
Joe Biden's yes answer indicates extreme confidence. Yet now we know that Hunter Biden doesn't share that confidence. Watch.
Was that your laptop?
For real, I don't know.
I know, but you know that this is.
I really don't know.
Okay.
The answer is.
You don't know
truthfully,
yes or no if the laptop
I don't have
was
any
yours.
idea. I have no idea.
So could have been yours.
Of course, certainly. There could be a laptop out there that was stolen from me. There could be that I was hacked. It could be that it was Russian intelligence. It could be that it was stolen from me.
Or it could be, as the man who turned over the computer said, that someone who looks very much like Hunter Biden dropped off the laptop to be fixed and never picked it up.
This just breaking right now, breaking news from FoxNews.com and Brooke Singman. She is now reporting that the laptop believed to be Hunter Biden's is in fact linked to an FBI money laundering probe. Pay attention. The FBI allegedly subpoenaed the laptop and the hard drive in 2019. They've known about this since 2019, which raises a whole series of questions. According to this FoxNews.com report, quote, it is unclear at this point whether the investigation is ongoing or if it was directly related to Hunter Biden, his laptop. Multiple federal law enforcement officials, as well as two separate government officials, have now confirmed the authenticity of these documents, which were signed by FBI Special Agent Joshua Wilson. Wilson did not immediately respond to Fox News for a comment. We will stay on this story. We're going to get reaction in just a minute from Senator Ron Johnson, but it is now breaking as we speak.
They're wondering how you got the laptop. How did you get the hard drive?
I got the hard drive legally, completely legally. Why are they worried about how I got it? Why don't they just say it's untrue?
You turned it over to the Delaware State Police, correct?
Yes, yesterday. Bernie Kerik and I turned it over to the Delaware State Police because we're very uncomfortable with this.
This hard drive may have been in the FBI's possession for over a year at this point.
No, I think 7 months. Correct, right.
7 months, to be fair.
We felt there was a legal mandate on us to present these pictures to the Delaware police. To my knowledge, they still haven't done anything about it, nor has the FBI. The FBI had gotten the computer, I think it was in Albuquerque, from Mr. Isaac's brother earlier, had been through it. So they obviously knew what it contained. And what puzzles me is they never did anything about it.
They weren't taking the 3 hard drives, which, of course, are electronic devices. They just mimic the computer. I said, well, don't you want these? And they said, what are they? I said, those are Hunter Biden's hard drives. And they said, no. I said, are you sure you don't want them? I mean, the warrant required them to take it. And they said, no. And one last time I said, don't you think you should take it and they said no.
The only piece of evidence that they did not take up there today was the only piece of incriminating evidence that is in there. And it does not belong to my father. It belongs to the current president's son.
I've seen you on some interviews and, talking about the laptop. This became this big thing, the laptop. And when they ask you if that was your laptop, you say you don't know, which is hard to believe unless you read the book. Yeah. And then it's kind of like, I'm surprised you have shoes on.
Yeah. I made it today. Pants were the problem. Pants are
always the problem, really.
Yeah. No, look, I really don't know. And the fact of the matter is, it's a red herring. It is absolutely red herring. But I am absolutely, I think, within my rights to question anything that comes from the desk of Rudy Giuliani. And so I don't know is the answer.
Do you ever wish you'd had Apple Care?
Yeah, that would have been a good.
There's one other thing I want to ask about, because it's the end of the book, and
I came out at that time after Adam Schiff came out with a false political narrative about this being Russian disinformation when there was absolutely no intelligence to support that. And it shouldn't surprise us. That's what Adam Schiff does as a politician. But to your point, to have 50 former Obama, Clinton, Biden national security officials come out after the director of national intelligence says that this is not true, and promote a false narrative to protect Joe Biden and try and influence the outcome of the election, that is the definition of politicizing intelligence. And people ask me all the time about election interference and election influence. And yeah, we need to be concerned about Russia and China and Iran. But there's no greater expression of that than what you just saw there, a completely false narrative. The intelligence community knew that this was not Russian disinformation, and law enforcement knew that it was Hunter Biden's laptop. There was an open investigation into that, and yet those officials, supported by a corporate media, ran a false narrative and misinformed the American people. The problem, Maria, is that with the exception of folks like you, very few people out in the media have accurately reported Hunter Biden, Joe Biden, and those issues that were important.
Strategy seems to be to call Biden a criminal. Why is that?
He is a criminal. He's a criminal. He got caught. Read his laptop, and you know who's a criminal? You're a criminal for not reporting it. You are a criminal for not reporting it. Let me tell you something. Joe Biden is a criminal, and he's been a criminal for a long time, and you're a criminal in the media for not reporting it. Good luck, everybody. Have a good time. Have a good time.
New information about the federal investigations into Hunter Biden's taxes, but sources telling Fox the investigation is actually bigger in scope. A Senate committee report may lay out a blueprint. It describes the son of the president-elect, his business dealings with China, and what is being called in the report the potential for criminal activity. Senior political correspondent Mike Emanuel starts us off with that part of the investigations tonight. Good evening, Mike.
Brett, good evening. This investigation, according to a source familiar, began in 2018. Fox News has learned not only are the feds digging into Hunter Biden's taxes, but he's also the target of a grand jury investigation. The federal investigation into Hunter Biden's tax affairs and business dealings was active in the final days of the presidential campaign, but it was covert to avoid influencing the outcome of the election. It's now in an overt phase. Fox has told his father, the president-elect, is not part of this probe. But a Republican member of the Homeland Security Committee notes Hunter traveled overseas when his father was vice president.
What did Joe Biden know, and when did he know it? He needs to answer questions.
A source familiar says the investigation was established on suspicious activity reports regarding foreign transactions. Hunter's business dealings with Chinese nationals, including some flagged for potential financial criminal activity, are outlined in a Senate committee report. The chairman of Senate Finance, one of the two committees digging into Biden business dealings, says their investigation was justified.
The liberal media and members of the other political party chose to dismiss our work. They even falsely claimed that our work was Russian disinformation.
The Senate report notes, quote, Hunter Biden had business associations with Ye Jianming, Gong Wendong, and other Chinese nationals linked to the communist government and the People's Liberation Army. Those associations resulted in millions of dollars in cash flow, a point echoed by the Homeland Security chairman.
There have been reports of the Bidens cashing in on the Biden name for many, many years, dating back to when Joe Biden was a senator.
Joe Biden and his allies were quick to dismiss questions about Hunter's business dealings in the final days of the campaign.
I know you'd ask it. I have no response. It's another smear campaign. It's right up your alley. They're the questions you always ask.
I think that's a question that's been pretty well litigated in the last year as to whether or not the effort to bring Hunter Biden's history into this whole situation is a smear campaign.
Fox News was first to report that the FBI opened a money laundering investigation into a laptop connected to Hunter Biden. It's unclear if that portion of the investigation is still ongoing. Some Republicans are now expressing concern that with a change of administrations on January 20th, a new president and his team could replace the U.S. attorneys. Now there's a call that those spearheading this investigation must be allowed to complete their work without interference. Brett?
Okay, Mike, thank you. Hunter Biden is not the only member of the president-elect's family under scrutiny tonight. Some of the business dealings of Joe Biden's brother, James, also being examined. Correspondent Peter Ducey reports tonight from Wilmington, Delaware.
There's more than one Biden caught up in a federal investigation. Hunter.
Dr. Biden, just one thing on the news, a reaction to the news of the investigation of your son, Hunter.
And James, Biden's brother, whose name has come up in the course of an investigation into a hospital business he's linked to, according to a report in Politico. This is the same brother who allegedly introduced then former Vice President Biden to a business partner.
I was introduced to Joe Biden by Jim Biden and Hunter Biden.
Jim Biden didn't want to talk about any of that when approached recently by FoxNews.com.
Are you Mr. Jim Biden? I wanted to ask you about the China deal.
Would you please stop bothering me?
Biden has promised distance.
My son, my family will not be involved.
But yesterday, the taxpayer-funded transition team sent out a statement from Hunter Biden, who doesn't work for the transition. Now, Mike Davis, former chief counsel for nominations at Senate Judiciary, wonders, why is Joe Biden using federal government resources to issue public statements for his son, Hunter Biden, related to his personal legal problems? Is this legal?
6 months after NPR published a review of Hunter Biden's memoir, Beautiful Things, they're issuing a bombshell correction to the story after falsely claiming that the story about Hunter's laptop was, quote, discredited by intelligence agents. The review initially read the laptop story was discredited by U.S. intelligence and independent investigations by news organizations. Now, the stunning mea culpa reads, numerous news organizations cast doubt on the credibility of the laptop story. No mention of intelligence, nor independent investigations, just news organizations. So let's bring in our panel. Charlie Kirk, founder of Turning Point USA, and Alicia Krauss, host of the Washington Examiner Newsmakers series. Alicia, I'm going to start with you. Why, after 5 months, are they coming out with this? And, you know, this would have really could have made a big difference in the election back in October.
Not only could this change have made a difference, another change that could have made a difference was the Washington Post. Remember, after the election, when they were talking about the transcript from Georgia and their source actually completely made stuff up. I mean, I'm not completely surprised that the American people are continually distrustful of not just our institutions, like what the CDC has been doing, but of our media as a whole. Why should they trust when these are pretty big details that the major news media is completely ignoring?
Right.
All right, yesterday we spoke with the computer repair shop owner at the center of zero experience Hunter Biden scandal, John Paul Mac Isaac. He shared his story and provided exclusive details regarding the content on Hunter's hard drive and the documents that show very high likelihood Joe lied to the country when he said he had no knowledge of Hunter's business dealings. We did reach out to Hunter Biden's attorney for comment. For some reason, they just won't get back to us. As promised, part 2 of our exclusive Hannity interview. Now, you're visually impaired, but yet through the aid of devices, I mean, this is intricate work, I would assume, working on computers, right?
Yes. The screws are small, and the tools are pretty small. Luckily, there's a lot of visual aids. I use magnifying glasses, monocles. I even have a microscope that helps me do the close-in work.
All right. Now, you believed that it was Hunter Biden that dropped off these laptops. It's now, didn't they, since all of this broke, didn't they call you and ask for the laptops back?
Surprisingly, no. Nobody's approached me to collect the machine. Or
no, there wasn't an attorney that called. I had read an article. There was an attorney that had called seeking.
Well,
oh, okay. How do you know?
Yeah,
October. Go ahead, sir.
October 13th, the day before the New York Post broke the story, I did get a call from an attorney representing Hunter, wanting to see if I still was in possession of the equipment